I remember it like it was yesterday. Called all of us kids into this little room and said, you know, your father is going to die. He's got terminal cancer. He's got 90 days. We're going to do 70 cobalt radiation treatments. We're going to try and save him, but probably he's going to die. And if it all works out, we're going to do a radical neck dissection and we'll remove his tongue, tonsils, part of his jawbone, and take his carotid artery out because there was a tumor wrapped around it, and replace the carotid artery with the artery from his thigh. And maybe he'll survive, but, you know, probably not.
He was 47.
Yeah.
And he had a big tumor on his neck.
Correct. He had squamous cell infiltrating carcinoma with a primary tumor wrapped around the carotid artery and traces of cancer on tongue, tonsils, and jawbone. So my dad endured 70 cobalt radiation treatments on his neck and burned his face black. And he used to wear a scarf, I remember, to cover it up. At the end of that treatment, they said, well, it didn't really help you. We're going to want to do the radical neck dissection. And my father said, no, I'm going to die all in one piece if I'm going to die. You're not going to cut me up. In that time, he was researching natural remedies from all sorts of ancient texts, the Bible as well. And he had noticed it said 27 times in the Bible, use herbs for medicine. And he decided he would go on a worldwide search for the herbs. And he went to the American Southwest, which is funny because when he was a young man in the movies, he was an extra in Tucson and Old Tombstone, and they would make Western movies. So when all the Americans would have a coffee break, they would go have donuts and coffee. And all the Native Americans, they would gather in a group and they would cut down this bush and they would make a tea out of it. My father drank that tea and he said it tasted terrible. And he remembered all those years later when he was dying that tea was chaparral, one of the herbs that was in the tea. So he drank that and he hated it. But all those years later, when he had cancer, he remembered. He went back there to the Santa Rita Hotel and where he was discovered as an extra. And he bought that and he started to drink it. And it didn't really help him. Then he had remembered from an ancient text in a Middle Eastern or Asian text that there was this herb called herbaline. So he flew over to Singapore and he found the lady that had it. And he started taking that, which was an extract actually. And that didn't help him either. So then he figured, oh, what the hell, I'm probably going to die. I'm doing the best I can. But, you know, he had a very positive attitude. But sometimes you get down. You know what it's like when you're fighting a terminal illness. You have your ups and downs. And so he decided he would go home to England. And if he was going to die, that's where he was going to die, in England. But he recalled that in the Bible, it said use herbs for medicine. He actually called the head of the Church of England. And the guy actually answered the phone. And my father said, what herb do you think is mentioned in the Bible? And they said Indian sage and red clover. So my father got that as well and started drinking that. And it didn't help. So he was really tired. And back in the old days, you're not supposed to mix herbs together. They interact with each other, somewhat like medicine. Back in those days, my dad just said, I'm going to mix them all together. What the heck? I haven't got the strength anymore to make 3 different kinds of teas. And he mixed them together and he drank it. It was on a Wednesday morning and he told us from the first sip, he felt better. And my dad drank a gallon a day, and in 6 weeks, he was in remission.